Hello and welcome back everyone to the last video probably for the Diablo 3 open beta weekend. This is the bottom floor of the cathedral and this is where the Skeleton King is going to reside. Basically right now we're just working our way around the labyrinth trying to get to where he's at. There is a bit of a cutscene coming up and there's another teleporter that didn't get used unfortunately. Well, actually, I stand corrected. It did get used, but it didn't go back into town, so it kind of still was a little bit pointless. But there's still going to be some mobs going around down toward the bottom. Once again, this is just pretty much grinding, picking up items and gold and whatnot as we go down to the bottom. But there is a bit of a mini boss, used to say, is on the way down. And there's one of the spring traps I was talking about where the wall caves in. Once again, completely useless. Could have been used at a spot. Now, I don't understand that spot right there. They could have actually put it in a spot where there were more mobs and such. And at this point right here, I should probably just have activated the sword. There's the cutscene it really shows you. Right here, I'm just going around collecting gold and items, looting the chest. Get some gold out of here. But yeah, it's not much really to this last part. It's pretty much just a couple mobs and a lot of stuff. Now, once again, I could have went back into town, cleared out the pack. Probably would have gotten a good amount of gold after everything that was in the pack. But yeah, I worked my way around to both sides, making sure both sides were clear. And that's what you got to do, really. To go around, check it. You never know what you may find in any of the spots. This was one of the tomes. Well, this wasn't one of the tomes for the character. Rather, this is just a tome for the lore. So, other than that, it's just pretty much checking every nook and cranny around in this area. Now, the next area ahead actually has the fight where you see the Skeleton King with a bunch of mobs come up. And this really isn't too hard. It's pretty much doing some crowd control and pretty much focusing down your priorities in this area. Now the thing you really want to focus on beside all the mobs is those pillars. Because it may say immune, but well, actually that's pretty much just immune to my shackling attack. You really want to take out most of the pillars. Unfortunately, I didn't do that until a little bit later. Luckily, my companion was going back and taking care of part of that, so it made my job a little bit easier. But once them pillars are down, you stop getting all this spawn. And once again, this is one of those areas where your trap comes in handy, or your escape ability. Now, escape really wasn't the name of it, but it had a little bit of a close call right there. Escape wasn't really the name of the ability, but it basically is what it does. Yeah, this was definitely one of those areas where you're going to find yourself getting backed up into a corner. So it's good to know what you have ability-wise and pretty much use it the best as you can. Once again, this probably doesn't even really become that much of a problem if the pillars get focused down first. So, unfortunately, that came a little bit later than it really should have. I guess I really shouldn't say it was much of a mini-boss, rather just a bit of an event. And a lot of these places do have simple event-type things where you go in and you activate an item and you may have to survive for about 2 minutes, or you may have to kill X amount of enemies. And then here's the scripted event that gets activated once you touch the sword. Nothing much. It pretty much just tells you a simple story. So, unfortunately, if the sound would have worked, you could have heard the actual conversation. But unfortunately, we're still doing the voiceover for what happened. Alright, So moving on, the door should be coming up. Basically, this is just one large area, and it's more likely just for collecting. You're going to go around, there's just so many nooks and crannies. And of course we have more skeleton mobs that pop up. And the ability for the demon hunter that shackles them makes it so much easier, especially when you have them in large groups, because it's going to slow them down. It's going to make, getting them grouped up into groups a lot easier. Between that and the secondary attack, which is your multiple shot. And the multiple shot is actually pretty powerful. The only problem is it uses your resource way too fast. So unfortunately I didn't get high enough level-wise to see any more of the abilities. Once you get to a certain point and you beat the boss, you pretty much beat the beta. So I did not get to that point where I could see much more. I really thought I would have had to have been a higher level at least. Now that right there is the actual door to go down to the next level to fight the Skeleton King. But at this point, you just got to get, right there's a blessing, and you get a few mobs that pop out from the wall. But other than that, you're just going to go around and collect odds of stuff, like gold, items, whatever you can. Because every little bit helps. And it's pretty neat how they have it all executed to where you'll have one part of the wall come out, and as soon as you beat that, the bottom part's going to come out. They're not really that hard. They only take a couple hits, and then they're down. It would be a good idea next time if you come in here to use the teleporters to go back and empty your backpacks. You'd make a lot of gold after going through and clearing out a lot of this area. Now after this little scripted event, I guess you could call it, you're going to pop into the next area. And then he's going to come out and destroy the pathway. And he'll basically make you walk along the sides, killing some summoned enemies. They're not really that difficult. They're just pretty much named mobs. Once you kill a couple of them, the gates will open and you'll be able to pass on through. Nothing too special about it. They're a little bit more tougher than some of the regular skeletons, but other than that, nothing really too fancy. It's just basically just there for show. Now in a higher difficulty, they're probably going to be a whole lot more, and they're probably going to be a whole lot tougher. Now this is actually the main area where the fight takes place. And it's a pretty big area. So if you find yourself getting in trouble, you want to utilize this whole area. It makes a difference. And to get everything started, all you have to do is go up to him and put the crown on his head. And to be honest, it's not even really a hard fight. Basically, it's just avoiding him and staying out in the middle of the packs that he summons. So yeah, having that trap on the ground makes a lot difference. Not just for the packs, but for him as well. And he's going to teleport around the room. And he's going to try to get behind you a lot. So once again, that's where the escape ability comes in handy. There will be a little bit of a trail. You'll see the trail where he gets ready to teleport in. So that's something you definitely want to keep an eye on. And that was the escape ability. I don't know why I keep calling it escape ability, but it's basically what's on top of my head at the time being. So between that and the trap, they pretty much keep you in the whole fight the whole entire time. Just when you see him summon more skeletons, if you're a demon hunter, just put down the trap, lure them in there, grind them down, or have your companion grind them down, and then focus fire the boss. And let me tell you, he's got a lot of hit points. This fight took roughly 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes. I'd say maybe 8 minutes. It's just mainly a lot of hit points. He's not really that difficult. It's pretty much just having to be able to move around and kill down the mobs and him. Yeah, he loves to summon the skeletons. It's something you have to keep an eye out. And there, right there, you've seen where how the trail shows where he's getting ready to teleport in. So it's not really that hard to find out where he's going. It's just a matter of paying attention and seeing the signs of where he's going to pop up to next. Now, having a better weapon may have helped. I mean, it's definitely possible. I don't know offhand. But, he takes a lot of hit points. Now, the one thing I was trying to do while this fight was taking place at some points, and I kind of failed at, was using that ability to try to get away from him. You're probably just better off running away when the time comes, because it seems like the ability, like right there, the ability kind of had a bit of a lag to it. So when you see the teleport start, you probably just want to start running away from him, because that axe will hit you for a ton after a while. But of course, I mean, when you have all the potions drop all over the floor, it makes everything so much easier. So I guess you could say one strategy will be basically to rock back and forth between side to side on each side of the room. I think I maybe had to use a couple potions. And that was basically because I forgot to use the ones in the middle. But yeah, I don't know how this will be once the game is going to be released. I'm sure they probably set this up this way for the beta, just so testers can see how it goes and see how the fight, how it progresses. So once May 15th comes out, we'll see how much they change, if they decide to change it at all. And at this point, we have him down halfway. It just mainly takes a lot of time. He doesn't really move that fast. Teleportation's the fastest method he uses. He has a whirlwind attack right there, which, if your range isn't even going to bother you, it's mainly going to hit your companion. And at that point, it was pretty good to have him as a healer, so that way he could just heal himself. I mean, this is pretty much the whole fight right here. There's nothing like really fancy to it. There's no strange mechanics or stage 1, 2, or 3. It's pretty much just one stage. You get mobs, you get him teleporting and doing the whirlwind. Other than that, it's not really impossible. If there was a way, which I'm sure there is, I would have the companion actually focus fire down on the skeletons, and I would rather have preferred to have taken on the boss one-on-one. That way it would have made things, I think it would have made it more organized. Then again, you can also say that, having him on the boss and having me do the multi-shot on a lot of the skeletons probably would have made a lot of sense either. It all depends on how you really want to do it. But it would probably be more effective if you took him on one-on-one and had your companion take them on. Because I really doubt your companion's going to be doing too much damage. We got him down to, I want to say, roughly 20% health around this point. Still no change. Same old tactic, just basically move around the room. If he comes up on you or the mobs continue to come up on you, just throw down a trap, slow him down, get some distance. Once again, if you're another class like a monk or something else, maybe a warrior, I'm sure there's an ability to where you can use to create some kind of distance or create some kind of defensive ability that'll at least take some damage off. But at least with demon hunters and mages and such, distance is, something you'll want to definitely keep moving at this point in the stage. And coming up at this point, we're going to start burning him down. He's got roughly 10% health, and you might as well just kill him off at this point. Yeah, this is the burn. Not really a difficult fight. He drops a ton of good stuff. He drops some weapons that have to be identified. So once you get them, there's not much you can do with them until you go back and get them identified. And there we have our message: you defeated the beta. So all in all, it was a pretty good experience. It's going to be ending shortly. So I think once it ends, they're not going to have things up and running again till May 15th, the release of the game. Now, of course, I forgot about identifying the items, so I've tried to equip a bow. At which point, the game had to remind me, by the way, it's not identified. So, once again, there's my full pack I should have emptied before I got started. So, we'll see by the time it comes out what all changes and, what's all there. I don't remember seeing the person who identify items back in town. That's probably not something that was implemented. If it was something I didn't pay attention to, in which case that would be my fault. But, they're still wrapping it up, and after a while, the beta, it got pretty good. It was off to a slow start at first. The servers kept crashing, but after a while, they got everything working. Hopefully it's a good sign that when the game gets released, everything will be stable. We won't be facing any kind of 24-hour downtime. Now, at this point, I was just looking around to see if there was anything else in the room. Not really. I really didn't see an exit. It may have been in there. I wasn't paying attention. But, this was pretty much it. Once they said it was he was defeated and it was the end of the beta, no quests were given. Nothing else was, pretty much explained. So I just kind of walked around, did some exploring, went back to the beginning. That was actually closed off. You can't go back through the way you came in. And other than that, that was it. I thought that was a teleporter, but no. So I thank you for watching this video, and not only this, but the other videos as well. If you found it entertaining or informative, then please, by all means, give it a thumbs up. The rating is highly appreciated. I hope to see you come back and watch some more videos soon. Take care, and I will see you later.